So a new Axios poll has come out that the majority of Americans want to force presidents to share our health records. I wonder why that's on people's minds.
Look, we have obviously all of the stuff with Biden that has now come out, his cancer diagnosis, which has led to accusations that he was covering it up while in office. And then, of course, Donald Trump, who is a walking poster child for mental health. You know, we need somebody to look at this guy, get in there and diagnose what is happening with him. So the current president, the last president, and even the guy before Biden too, which was Trump, horrible in the health regard. Trump never actually released his medical records. All he released were summaries from doctors saying he is the healthiest human being that ever lived. Even though he's on blood thinners, he is on cholesterol medication, he's on an aspirin regimen, which typically happens when doctors think you're a walking heart attack waiting to happen. You don't put a healthy person on an aspirin regimen, but the summaries say, no, this guy's in totally great health. So it's not surprising at all that almost 75% of Americans say, you know what? We need the full release of any president's health records. Democrat, Republican, we don't care. We have a right to know what is happening with the person in charge of the country. Now, legally speaking, they don't necessarily have a right to know, but I think politically, they do have a right to know.
Well, and certainly Joe Biden in his 80s, Donald Trump crowding 80. I mean, these are the oldest presidents we've had in our history back to back. And then when we look back at Reagan, famously some health problems in that second administration, the American people certainly have a right to know, and more topical now than ever when we're talking about potential nuclear issues, he's not capable, whether his mental capacity was ever capable, certainly at his current condition, to adjudicate these for us.
And what also gets me about this poll is it's not just with the presidential health. Majority also want to see, you know what, we want health records from Congress. But also on top of that, we want age limits. We do not want to keep I think the last 5 people that have died in office have all been Democrats, all pushing, late 70s, 80s, and beyond. People want actual representation from individuals who look like them, who are the same age of them, who's had the same experiences as them. People that are serving in their 70s and 80s have had a much different world for most of their lives than this younger generation or even the middle-aged folks. So people want a more representative body in Congress versus these people like Mitch McConnell, who has now been there for 40 years. That's how long McConnell's been in Washington, D.C., 40 years. And people say, we want it changed. Oh, and by the way, we also want term limits for the Supreme Court too. So I love it all. I love all of this, that the public is on board with it, because I agree with every bit of it.
Well, Senator Grassley is the oldest at 91 years old. That man is 91 years old serving in Congress. The average age of a U.S. Senator is 65. That's the average age of a U.S. Senator. 58 in the House. The average age of the American citizen is 39. So this is double the age of the average American, just about. It's outrageous. It's certainly not representative. And how can you expect these people to keep up with current trends and to have the stamina that's needed to run a government when, dementia is an issue? Famously, the Republican who was in a dementia unit in Texas and is still there ostensibly, as far as I know, she's still sitting there and still a member of Congress.
Yeah, we have not, that's actually a great point. We haven't had any updates on that. What the hell is going on? And that's just another reason why we do need these health records. You may not have to release, your full blood panels to us, but we need an honest, unbiased, summary, not from somebody trying to gain political favor like obviously Donald Trump's doctors have done. We need to know what's happening because these people are up for re-election every 2, 4, or 6 years. And they'll keep running until they drop dead in office. We have seen it far too many times in the last 12 months alone.
Well, and certainly, it's not unheard of to have limits, to have age limits. Many states have an age limit on judges of 70 years or 65 years. There's no reason that same idea cannot apply to the leaders of our Congress. Seniors are unfortunately often victims of scamming and different things. And these people, however, are leading the free world.
And we do know, by the way, too, speaking of the scamming, a report came out about a week and a half ago. Trump's own staffers are worried that he's going to fall victim to a cell phone scammer because he answers his phone no matter what the number is. whether he knows it or not, just, oh, look, somebody's calling, hello, hi. They did get caught one time. Somebody imitated using AI his chief of staff, Susie Wiles. It wasn't him that answered the phone. It was a different staffer. And they believed it was Susie Wiles calling. So yeah, the scams on people like that, it happens every day. And talking about age limits, air traffic controllers, they can't serve, is it 50 or 55? And they're out of there. And it's because we don't think, as a body that controls that, we don't think that after the age of 55, you have the mental sharpness to be able to tell an airplane where to go. And if they can't do that, then they should not be able to write laws. I mean, that also seems very important. But it really is almost inspiring to see the majority of the public together on issues at all. We never see that. But on all of these things that, of course, are very important to the future of this country, assuming we have a future.
Well, and unfortunately, the people who have to pass the law is going to disqualify the vast majority of them. So they're going to have to vote to fire themselves. And good luck getting this Congress to do anything that's not in their own self-interest.